by LaMarcus Joyner. Right sideline 50. He's at the 40. Toe taps inside the Bronco 40. And out of bounds at the Denver 37.
Like I said, at 2-5, how much has the Heat turned up on this season?
The Heat's always on. I mean, anything you want to always try to give yourself a chance to get to the playoffs. We're behind the 8 ball right now at 2-5. We got to fight ourselves out of this hole.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The Playbook is live here on the Bettor Sports Network. What's going on, everyone? We're powered by FantasyAlarm.com, sponsored by Jock Market. My name is Justin Fenster, and his name is Adam Ronis. For the next 2 hours, we're talking plays, we're talking strategy, we're getting you ready for all the sports that's going to be going on this weekend and, of course, tonight. What's up, Roman?
Just navigating the NFL and all these injuries that are piling up right now.
Yeah, you heard in our open just now, Brett Rippon, of course, throwing a pick there, Broncos Radio Network, rather the Jets Radio Network. And then, of course, hearing the sound regarding Coach Hackett and whether or not he will still be employed after their next matchup here, Rome. We've been talking a lot about terrible coaching. Coach Hackett, though, is someone that we've been ripping apart like a piñata, just hitting over and over again. What do you think, man? How much longer can this guy withstand?
I mean, he's a first-year coach, so they usually tend to give you the full year. Looks like Russell Wilson's going to play. Big story that he's stretching while the teammates on the plane are sleeping. That's an important detail to show that he's out working people. I don't know what happened to Russell Wilson. He's become like this guy that we make fun of a lot now, but he's kind of doing it to himself. That's what happens when you're marrying someone like Ciara, right?
Yeah, that. And also, I mean, I guess you're not on TikTok or anything like that, but the famous TikTok that came out saying what he's into, faith, football, flying. So I guess he loves flying so much because he could get those private 36,000 feet workouts.
Yeah, so that's real important. But, yeah, it looks like he's going to play this week as they play in London against Jacksonville.
Oh, another one of these London games, man. Look at that. And technically a primetime game, too, worldwide for the Denver Broncos. Can't get enough of this squad.
No, they're so exciting to watch. Why not put them on another time isolated?
Yeah, just what I want to see right there. I want to see this team go up against Jacksonville here. When it comes to anything Jacksonville related, I know the report came out. Obviously, James Robinson now traded. Someone's going to be behind ETN, who was hurt last year. Let's say he gets hurt again. Who's it going to be? And from the reports that we're seeing now, maybe someone, I guess he's not probably on waivers anymore because running backs just really don't stand on waivers that long, even if they have backup opportunities potentially. But JaMychal Hasty could be looking at a little bit more involvement in the Jaguars offense.
Yeah, I mean, in deeper formats, certainly worth an add in case something happens to ETN, or we do have bye weeks in the next couple weeks ahead where 6 teams will be on bye. So he looks like he could be the next man up.
Yep. By the way, speaking of buys, it almost seems like half of these teams here that we got going tomorrow night when it comes to the Ravens and the Buccaneers. I mean, Roan, who isn't questionable? Are you warming up, dude? Because they might be giving you the call to provide some offense here like you did at the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, man. They've seen your tape here, but at least from the Baltimore side here, it seems Andrews, Bateman, Edwards, even Ronnie Stanley, all questionable going into this Thursday night affair.
Yeah, I'm expecting Bateman to play. I think he was a full participant today. So came back from the foot injury last week. A decent game considering they didn't pass much. So I don't think he's a must start. I've already getting questions on him. I have him in a few leagues. I think in some leagues I'm going to play him. Others I won't. It all comes down to who you have. But I do expect them to play. Same with Mark Andrews. But, they are kind of banged up, and it's a short week here against Tampa.
Yeah, but let us know what's going on in the comments section, what players that you want us to talk about. That's what's great about being on Bettor Sports Network. We see your chat right there, and then we bring up what you guys want us to talk about, including ceilings of some of your players on your fantasy football teams. For instance, Roan, someone like me, I've got about 3 or 4 shares of James Robinson, but as expected, the Jets are going to be looking to ease him in, and I know that we have bye weeks. Some of us have really crappy running back units, but I don't know what to make of James Robinson. I don't know where you have him at all in your rankings. FantasyAlarm.com for Adam Ronis's weekly fantasy football rankings. But when it comes to this guy, you can't think that he's going to be getting even maybe – I can't even see him really getting 10 carries in this matchup.
Yeah, I think it's a week where you probably want to avoid him if possible. You know, you saw – I know it was different with McCaffrey because it was just a few days, and Robinson's not the caliber of a McCaffrey, and the Jets' obviously offensive line is taking a hit. So I wouldn't want to play him if I didn't have to this week.
No, hopefully none of you have him. And some of you could be like me and have him, and you have A.J. Dillon on the same team as well. Not ideal right there. We at first didn't have a starter named, and we still, I guess, technically don't officially when it comes to the New England Patriots at quarterback after what we saw on Monday night. But Field Yates was reporting that it is going to be, or that he thinks it's going to be, Mac Jones here going up against the Jets on the other side here. Big statement right here in the AFC East, Rome, because like you've mentioned, the Jets and the Patriots square off a few times here in soon enough weeks here this week, and then again in another couple of weeks here. This is very big and very telling for these two teams, especially to see if the Jets can continue winning. I mean, Zach Wilson hasn't lost a game yet.
Yeah, definitely a tough matchup. You get a Patriots team coming off an embarrassing loss at home on Monday night. And, you know, Jets come into this game banged up with the issues on offensive line, Breece Hall going down, Corey Davis is hurt. So just not a great situation for the Jets. So, yeah, it's an important game for both teams. I guess probably more for New England considering they're 3-4. And looked like they were playing well. So it should be a good game. And, you know, it's a big game for the Jets because, you know, they typically get beat up by New England, and you want to change that. And if they could ever get to 6-2 and get this win, it would be huge. But they are a little banged up coming into this one.
Speaking of banged up, here we go again. Ezekiel Elliott, the reports coming out before, maybe a sprained MCL, could be out for the week here. I don't know if we have a full confirmation from the Cowboys, Rome, but at least that's what the reports are indicating right there, meaning that it's going to be a big time effort from Tony Pollard if Zeke does not play here. And this is just such a devastation if he doesn't play, and it's not looking like he's going to. It's an excellent matchup that now we're not going to get to sink our teeth into if we have Zeke.
Yeah, it's not official. There were quotes from Zeke saying it's early in the week and he feels better than Monday and he wants to see how the week goes. And we know Zeke, the guy is tough as hell. I think, though, the Cowboys need to step in and just say, look, you know, he took a helmet to the knee, did come back in the game. He's only missed one game in his career due to injury, but I think they have to sit him. You have a bye week next week, so Pollard's more than capable of filling in, although Pollard's never had a huge workload. I don't think he's had more than 14 carries in an NFL game. But with the bye coming up next week, I think you sit Zeke, and Dallas has to make that decision because if it's up to Zeke, he's going to go out there. We saw it last year. So Pollard could be in a really good spot this week. I mean, he was someone you're probably playing anyway. You know, he's kind of right there in that RB2 area because he has been involved, and they are running the football a lot, and it's a great matchup. So it would just make Pollard a must start if Zeke does sit out.
The Cowboys are favored in this game by 9.5 points, at least last I checked. And I'm wondering because, yeah, you know how people are with recency and everything after what they saw from the Bears. I'm wondering if as much money will be on the Cowboys before what we saw Monday night than it is now or going into this matchup here, Rome, because we always talk about trap bets and everything, but even after what we saw Chicago do, 9.5 being favored by the Cowboys here, do you think that this is going to be a situation where you see 85% or 90% of the money on this team, despite the spread being 9.5?
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of people were on Dallas last week against Detroit. So I don't. I think people might take the points here. I know everyone's going to look at the Dallas pass rush and think it could cause a problem, but you saw Fields with a lot of designed runs, which they weren't doing in the past, and he had success. So the Bears have not been getting blown out either. I think they've lost by double digits once. I think it was the Packers game in week 2. So I don't think all the money's going to be on Dallas. I think there are going to be people that take the Bears.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one right there. I mean, I don't know about that. I've told you this before. I believe in the Cowboys. I love the Cowboys. I love what I've seen from them. Now Dak's back.
When are you buying a Cowboys jersey?
I don't know, man. Maybe I should start looking. Seriously. I can't believe it. I'm not really anti any team, especially when it comes to fantasy, when it comes to wagering.
Really? You're not anti-New England with the beating they've put on the Jets all those years?
No, I can't be, man, when it comes to fantasy and wagering. I can't do it.
I'm not talking fantasy and wagering. I'm talking as a fan.
Oh, as a fan, that's different. Then why would I root for the
I'm
Patriots?
not talking fantasy and wagering. That's obvious. If you want to have success and
No,
win
it's
money,
not
you
obvious.
can. Yes, it is.
No, it's obvious to us. It's not obvious to others out there. How many people I talk
It is to
to?
most people by now.
It should.
And if it is, then those people are not watching us and they're not playing fantasy.
Right. But I'm telling you, man, it's out there that people, and they brag to me about it, won't draft Red Sox.
Again,
players.
you play with preschool kids, man. I'm talking about logical people.
I just play with a casual. I feel like in general with fantasy, a little bit more of a casual audience than you do. Would you say the majority of your leagues are high stakes or at least competitive industry leagues?
Yes.
So, I mean, I think that's the difference between you and me, because most of my leagues are with the casual audience. This is how the casual audience thinks, Ron. It's not everybody, but there's some out there, some Jet fans that wanted no part of Jacoby Myers. Why? Because he's a Patriot. That's why. No other reason.
I mean, that's kind of a bad example, but okay.
I had to pull something here. Fine. Ramondre Stevenson or whatever. Fine. I'm just saying that there are people who won't draft. And let us know if any of you are out there. Maybe some of you have won championships despite not drafting your rival team of the team that you root for as a fan. Maybe you still won titles without drafting those players from the rival teams. But it's one of those things. And BSN's executive producer, Brian Drozda, does it right. Or at least I think he's still like this. Ron, you've known Droz for years. And that is that he's a diehard Patriots fan. He doesn't play fantasy. He has opted out of not playing fantasy. He cannot root against the Patriots. And this is a guy that's worked for multiple fantasy sports networks. And now he's not playing only because, and look, for all of you out there that can't handle that, that's a decision you're going to have to make. But when you're playing fantasy, your team becomes your team. Your team is paying the rent. Your team, just like your team in real life, it's hitting you in the heartstrings, something that you can work on there. Any bias or bias against, out the window when it comes to fantasy sports, Ron. I'm telling you, casual audience, more casual members definitely do, and not everybody, but there are some that eliminate certain teams from their player pool.
And they're losers and they don't win.
They are losers. And
Simple.
That is very simple. Jay Allen already in the chat here asking us, how about this trade? Wow. Saquon Barkley for Najee Harris and Christian McCaffrey in a half PPR keeper league. Interesting that trade's on the table.
I mean, again, are you playing for this year or are you trying to win? If
Yes.
I'm doing it for this year, I'm going to make the trade.
Yeah.
It also depends who you have to drop. I mean,
right. I'm sure it's
McCaffrey's going to he's going to be fine. Like, he's going to start to get his full workload going forward.
He's trying to win.
I mean, Najee Harris. I mean, look, Barkley and CMC are very close. And Najee Harris to me is just, can't really, he's not a great start. Maybe you flex him. But I would make that trade.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you got to look at the players as is and not where we drafted them anymore. Najee Harris is somebody that hasn't been fully reliable when it comes to any kind of ceiling. We can't predict that. I can only imagine how much of a pain in the ass, Ronis, it is to even rank a guy like Najee Harris week after week. It's got to be tough, right? I mean, because all of a sudden,
no, it's not. He's outside the top 20 most weeks at running back.
Right. But I mean, do you get asked a lot about why he's so low? Or do you think?
No, I think people are pretty smart and they're well aware that he ain't doing anything right now.
No,
and that
he's not.
Just too many other players in better spots.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, man. And I know that you were off of him during draft season. That's a mistake that I made. I'm hanging on by a thread in that famous SiriusXM host league that we talk about, Ronan. I actually did go to your rankings here, not because I wanted to steal anything from you, but I wanted to get some good perspective from the weekly Ronas rankings here when trying to figure out who to pick up as a quarterback option in case Russell Wilson can't go, or if I just don't want to start Russell Wilson. So what do I do, Ron? Early this morning, I pick up Jameis Winston. And I'm like, okay, maybe Jameis right there. And then we get the piece of news that he's not starting. Back to the wire I go. And who else is there besides the crap on the waiver wire in this industry league? Jared Goff, who once I picked him up and then checked the rankings, I was actually happy that you had him as high as you did in the matchup here against Miami, because let me tell you, man, it's being a Russell Wilson investor this year, I can imagine, as you can imagine, absolutely stinks. But the fact that we don't know and we're left in this gray area constantly with this guy, it's been a real pain trying to figure out if I should even be rostering 2 quarterbacks, if I should just drop Wilson and that's it. But here's the problem, Roan. I also have Cortland Sutton in this league, and it makes me, because of this situation, it makes me regret the strategy of, well, I have Sutton and now I'm in the 9th, 10th round. Here's Russell Wilson. I did like Wilson going into the year, but I like him even more now that I have a little connection, and it just so happened to be there. Hasn't worked out, unfortunately, as the effectiveness as it should have.
Wilson has struggled. I mean, they've moved the ball well. They just cannot convert in the red zone. It's been a big problem. And now Wilson dealing with a couple of injuries. Again, it sounds like he is going to play this week, but it's really difficult to start him. And I've seen him dropped in league. So I don't have him in the initial rankings because I wasn't sure if he's going to play. So I'll do another sweep and put him in there, but he won't be ranked very high.
Oh God, bro, it's been disastrous. I don't like being under 500, man. I really don't. And there's only so much I could do when I just draft a team of underperformers. I can't exactly drop core guys who aren't producing when there's really not as much out there. I mean, on the waiver wire, players I picked up include guys like, I didn't pick up Raheem Mostert. I picked up a Jamal Williams for a week or two. I've been getting guys that have been giving me a little bit of relief, but nothing really that substantial. And then I had guys like CeeDee Lamb who were dealing with Cooper Rush for a few weeks there.
He was fine.
Yeah,
he was getting like a 34% target share with Cooper Rush.
And I'll take that, man. Overall, man, this team, I had Elijah Moore on this team, Cam Akers on this team. It's just a bad team, man, and there's not much I could do to really get out of it.
It happens. Sometimes you just draft a bad team and you do the best to patch it up and hope things turn around. But sometimes we all have teams that are just a lost season.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot of NBA. James Grande from FantasyAlarm.com is going to stop by to talk DFS, 10 games on the docket. We'll talk wagering as we'll go over the lines and some props there. By the way, how about this? We can't forget to talk about this when it comes to football. The Eagles trading for Robert Quinn. It's almost a joke at this point, man. The great defense just got better here with Quinn.
Yeah, Eagles are loaded, and they understand that they're in a position to just go all in and win it now. Clearly the best team in the NFC right now, and the schedule is very favorable for them. So just adding some depth to the pass rush, which is already very good. And I was fortunate. Someone dropped the Eagles defense during their bye, and I put in a $4 bid out of 100 and got them. I won the tiebreaker. So, now the reason why I did that is because I'm playing Eagles defense every week. I don't have to worry about it. The leagues that I had the Eagles defense, I did not drop them. I picked up a second defense, and we'll drop that second defense tonight. But the Eagles defense is playing well, and they have a very, very favorable schedule going forward. So now, I mean, obviously things can change and injuries could happen, but I'm just going to lock in the Eagles defense every single week the rest of the year, and I don't have to worry about that second defense.
That's a nice pickup right there. I mean, they're just certain defenses, very few though, but there's always 3 or 4 that you just shouldn't drop. You take it on the chin and you just roster 2 defenses for a week when that defense is on bye. I'm just not willing to throw it back in the pool. I've never been when it's been a top defense like the Patriots in the past. I would never throw them back in the pool ever.
Yeah, there's always a certain defense or a couple every year that just perform at a high level. And for me this year, Bills, Eagles, not a ton. But those were definitely, and especially when you look at the Eagles schedule and what they can do and how they're constantly playing from ahead, I think they're in a good spot the rest of the year.
Yeah, we got pissed coming up as well. We're going to talk about what's frustrating us this week too. Let us know what's frustrating you in fantasy, especially wagering your teams, what's gone wrong. We will make you famous. Read your comments in the comments section here on Bettor Sports Network. You can tweet us as well at Bettor Network. For the Thursday night on the other side, by the way, I never said Russell Gage, Cameron Brate will be out. Julio Jones, a game time decision for this amazing matchup. Oh, Roan, you in the car? You hosted from the car today? I just heard some hockey.
Man, I'll tell you this, though. It is damn warm here in the New York area. My goodness, man. It's like 70 degrees.
Yeah, if you're watching Hot Ones.
It's 70 degrees right now, man. It's crazy. It's October 26th, and it's 70 degrees.
You know what, man? It should be 70 degrees everywhere all year.
Well, yeah,
long.
You got to go to San Diego for that.
Yeah, you know what? It's enough.
I've never been there myself.
You've never been to San Diego?
Nah, I've never been to Cali yet.
Really? Wow.
No.
You've been to so many conferences. I guess very few times they're in San Francisco.
No, the years that it was in San Francisco, I didn't get sent. You know, if the company sends me, I'm going. They're not. I'm not.
Let's see. We got to save the budget. We got to cut someone here from the budget.
Yeah, that's right.
Boom, Ronus.
So the next FSGA, I believe, is in Vegas again in February. So I'm more than willing to go if they're going to send me.
Yeah, I bet you are. Vegas trips are always fun for business. Not as
I've only been out there. I've only been to Vegas for work. I think I've been to 3 FSGA conferences now out there and 3 FFWC fantasy football drafts. So I've never gone out there on my own. It's always work related. But yeah, I think, damn, it's been like, I think 6 trips out there. My goodness, man. It's a lot.
Guy?
No.
You're not a strip club guy?
Nope. Because it's a big tease and it's a waste of money, man. I just don't like walking in and, oh yeah, no. I can get the real. They come up to you and try to gas you up.
Yeah,
and I can get the real thing pretty much anytime I want. So
wow,
no, it's the truth. I'm not lying, dude. I've told you a lot of stuff. You've seen text. I'm not bragging. It's the absolute truth.
You're not bragging. You're just saying.
I'm not. It's the truth. If I'm telling the truth, how's it bragging?
I don't come on here bragging.
No, yes, it's not. It's the
truth. You saying you can get anytime you want? That's not bragging. Yeah. Come on.
It's not.
All right. AB Adam Bernard, the resource.
In the chat.
I know how much you guys like. I know how much you guys like Ronus better than me, but please tell me for once he's wrong. Just say it, guys, in the chat. He's wrong. Oh my!
Thank you. See, it's the truth, though. Why you, dude? You know me,
Jared.
No,
Jared Moore. The people. Jared. It doesn't matter what you think, Ron.
Nah, see, Adam is more sharper than Jared. Sorry.
He's more sharper. Oh, that's good. That shows how sharp you are right there, Mr. Verbal.
But you know me, and you've encountered a lot of my stories. Am I lying?
You're not lying.
Okay, so then how's it a brag?
I'm still bragging.
Okay, fine. Then forget what I said. Yes. I don't want to be seen like that. But the point is, I don't need to go to a strip club to see that. I mean, I get it. It's something different. But I honestly, I don't remember the last time I went. I think it was New Orleans, and that was like in the early 2000s. I went with my friend, and I didn't even want to go. And we were in New Orleans, and there's a lot out there. And then finally, I was like, all right, fine, let's go. And we actually went to one where it was not even good. Not the type of women I like. I was like, really? This is where we're going? But one of the best strip clubs I've ever been to, I believe it's closed down now, is Sue's Rendezvous in Mount Vernon. That was the best. All the types of women that I like, and that was tremendous. But yeah, to me, it's a tease and it's a waste of money. I
agree with you.
And I've had women who said, do you want to go? They'll go to a strip club with me. And I was like, if you really want to go, I'll go, but it's not my thing.
Yeah, for me, the problem is it's like, I mean, I know they're trying to like work the room and everything, but you come up to me, I'm going to have a conversation with you. I want to know your whole life story. I'm an awful client for that kind of person. And then you're right. It's all fake. They don't care about how you are. They don't care about your story.
I think it's more and no disrespect to people who go. And this is not encapsulating everyone who goes.
And those who perform as well in strip clubs too.
What?
Those who perform there as well. You got to make money. So no disrespect.
No, nothing to them. I'm just saying the people who go, I think, are more guys who maybe are kind of lonely or married guys who are kind of bored with their wife and need something different and they don't want to cheat. So I think that's it mostly. But it just doesn't do anything for me, man.
No, neither did I. And the thing is, I actually went to a bachelor party in Vegas, and it was just a lot of that. And I'm just not that. It's not real. Okay. It's not real. It's just not.
I have never been to a strip club in Vegas, and I've been out there 6 times.
Oh, Spearman, Rhino, Sapphire. You know what?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
I'll tell you one story because you kind of know wrestling. Do you remember the wrestler, the Disco Inferno in WCW? Yeah. He was the bouncer at Sapphire when I went back in 2010. And I'm like, and he knew I recognized it. And I'm like, Disco Fever. And he did not want to be recognized like that. But that was really cool there. By the way, everyone's telling you you're missing out. And
all right, fine. I guess next time I go to Vegas, I'll go then.
Yeah, no, it's okay, man. It's like it's gonna be you, Corey.
It's just again, it's not my thing, man. It's a waste of money. And I get people like, well, if you do it once in a while, fine. I could see that, but really, I can't remember. I think the last time I went was New Orleans. There's actually one by me, 5-6 blocks away. And I had met someone at a fantasy football draft years ago at my friend's job, and he was like, "You live over there? Oh, you got to go to this spot. It's really good. Here, take my number. We'll go one day." I never went.
He's Adam Rodas, not a strip club guy. I'm not a strip club guy either. It's just not real.
Don't get me wrong. I love women, and I love naked women. It's just that
I think we gathered that road. I think we all gathered that based off some of the comments you just made there. All right. You see, we're more sharper than you think there, Roan. He's Rodas. I'm Fetsty. This is the playbook. We do talk plays and plays in life as well. Telling you, hey, don't take the play and go to the strip club right there. Wager and with that money instead. And we'll tell you how exactly you can invest in for tonight's NBA action. We'll talk a little bit more streaming quarterbacks as well before James Grande comes into play. Give him a follow on Twitter at @the_real_Grande. Keep reading your comments. Happy to be with you on the playbook, powered by fantasyalarm.com and sponsored by Jock Market here on BSN.
The playbook with Fensty and Ronis is sponsored by Jock Market.
Co-founder of Jock Market. Dave, what's up, man?
Hey guys, how are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for sponsoring the show on the network and everything, man. We much appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have one of your I don't know what you should call him, not a sycophant really, maybe a disciple, maybe I don't know, John Legeza on once in a while, and he is like
he's on it,
like all in caps, Jock Market, and like his enthusiasm for it. I mean, look. Like I remember we had Jock Market sponsor one of the athletic shows a while ago too, so I was familiar with the game. But he is like, man, the proselytizer big time of your game.
Yeah, right from the jump. The second we first started talking to him, it was very clear it was a match. He got the game. It was like right, he's a big stock guy too, so the crossover between that and him making picks every day, it's really like a match, perfect match for us.
That's cool. That's what's up. Me and Nando, we've talked to. I mean, we've been doing shows for a long time. Now, I remember back in the day, interviewing Nigel and Jason Robbins and all of that stuff. And one of the interesting things when we talked to Nigel was hearing about the story of FanDuel and how it kind of came about at South by Southwest. How did Jock Market come about? Where did the thought process come from? Like, what were you into at the time? What were you looking to do? How did Jock Market become to be the app that's on our phones today?
Yeah, no, great question. So, working with my co-founder Tyler at our previous company, we played a lot of DraftKings and FanDuel on our own, and obviously we liked it. We loved playing, but figured there were other ways out there, other ways to play that'd be more interesting. And we've also both been interested in investing for a long time, and it was kind of crazy that the stock market and sports concept hadn't really been. I mean, it'd been people had tried it before, but that it hadn't really worked. And then the daily fantasy spin really showed us an opportunity to make it work where you can have an intrinsic value for those shares. So you have people coming and buying in shares, but if it's a perpetual market, the shares never pay out. It's kind of hard to figure out what they'll be worth. But in a daily market, you buy those shares, in the afternoon, by that evening, for the most part, they're going to pay out real cash. So you have an intrinsic value. I think this is going to be worth X dollars by the end of the night. So now I have a number I can come and pay for it. So that's really where we saw the opportunity. It's just a matter of making the game work within fantasy sports regulations and making it fun and interesting and give people the opportunity to make money by playing.
Joined now by Dave Eisen.
Jones back to throw under pressure. Rolls right, he's going to run. Jones to the 40, 45. Lowers his shoulder, still on his feet, and tripped up at the 40-yard line. He almost broke it.
3rd and 5. There's the snap to Goff. Back in the pocket, rolling right, being chased, throws, end zone. Yes! Touchdown, Detroit Lions! Oh, baby, that is big-time stuff. Amon-Ra St. Brown had to go up to get it, and he did it.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis is sponsored by Jock Market. Make real money every hour, every minute, every second of every game.
Couple of options that we could be relying on at quarterback for week 8 of the fantasy football season. Daniel Jones, or someone that I'm likely going to have to rely on. Jared Goff, who I've streamed a couple of times before, one week successfully, the other week unsuccessfully. So with that, we'll see what happens there. But you heard the calls from the Giants and Lions radio networks. And Rome, when it comes to streaming quarterbacks, we got Jones, who you talked about yesterday that you're into, and you ranked pretty high, by the way. Goff, too, who we just talked about. Any other quarterbacks whose matchups that you like that could possibly be out there that you'd like to stream for week 8?
I think of guys available, maybe Garoppolo. I mean, Fields has a tough matchup against Dallas, but I think he can run a little bit. But yeah, it's not a lot of great guys out there this week. I think they're mostly rostered by now, but Daniel Jones definitely the best if he's still available. But I think he's starting to be picked up over the last couple weeks.
No Dalton, right?
I think I have to move him up. I think I have him kind of low. I think you can use him. Vegas is not good. And we did see him throw 4 touchdowns last week. I know he threw 3 picks, but he's actually not that bad.
We got to see the health of their receivers too, man. This is becoming an every week
Michael
thing.
Thomas is never playing again.
Dude, can he just retire already? Can it stop being a tease with this guy already? Can they just rule him out already? Seriously.
Jarvis Landry, the same thing. Like, what is going on with these guys, man?
Yeah, man. It's just, I'm tired of this with him, with Michael Thomas. It's almost like every week we get hope, and then that hope is just dashed.
No. You've had hope every week with Thomas. I have
not every week, but going into the week, I have a little bit of hope that he's going to come back, and then it's dashed every week.
I don't think we might see him play the rest of the year the way we're going now.
I wish they would just rule him out yet, or IR him or something like that.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Okay, this happened. Was it week 2 or week 3 they played Tampa? We're now headed to week 8. Like, so why wasn't he placed on IR? I don't. It's a weird situation. And Landry too. I don't get it. I'm just glad that I only drafted Thomas in one league. But again, it was an early draft, that FSGA draft in Detroit, where I drafted Najee Harris and Michael Thomas. I didn't touch them the rest of the way. So the team is still good. It's 5-2, but now I lost Breece Hall. But I guess I had to start Ryan Tannehill last week because I had Cousins on bye, and it's a 14-team league, so there wasn't much available. So I'm just glad that I got my quarterback bye out of the way, and I'll have to roll with Cousins the rest of the way, which I know he's been up and down, but it's a 14-team league, and there's no trades in that league, so just got to deal with it. But could be a lot worse.
Yeah, I almost was going to ask because it's funny. Then I checked the total. The total's so low, and we don't know what the Colts offense is going to be moving forward here. I mean, you like the matchup itself on paper, but Ellinger, I don't know what to expect from him.
Yeah, I mean, he's he can move in the pocket more. Ryan obviously is a statue, so I think they're hoping that, and also Ryan just doesn't have the arm anymore. Like, there's no downfield threat, so it made it easier for defenses to defend him. Part of the reason why they're not running the ball successfully, Pittman doesn't have a target over 20 yards this year, so they're hoping, I think, that Ellinger and his mobility can open things up a little bit more, but it's tough to know without seeing him on the field first.
Tell me if you made a change or not. I didn't know if did you have Justin Fields? I glanced at your rankings before. You have him ranked pretty highly, don't you? Unless you made a change. I glanced at it. I stopped for a second, then moved on when I was doing prep.
Yeah, I might have to move him down a bit, but I know it's tough against Dallas, but that floor that he gives you rushing, and you really don't eat much from him passing. Again, if he's going to rush for 60, 70, 80 yards, maybe score, and then pass, even if he gets you 150, 175 and a touchdown, with a lot of these other quarterbacks just not putting up numbers, I think he's in play. But, yeah, I do think people will be scared to start him against Dallas And I understand that because of the havoc they could wreak with the pass rush. And if you are in an IDP league, there was a scoring change today. Micah Parsons was credited with another sack. So there'll be a stat correction on that. So if you lost in an IDP league by a point or two and you have Parsons, you might get yourself a victory now.
Yeah, wow. We talk about those stat corrections, Rowan. It's always great when you're on the right side of a stat correction, especially in the playoffs here. But when you're on the wrong side of it, it's the worst thing in the world. And stat corrections, I've never seen really 3 points. It vary 3 points. 2 points I've seen the most of any of the leagues that I've been in. That have
Well,
at
it
least
depends on. I mean, some league sacks are like 4 points.
Wow, that just changes
Mm-hmm.
everything right there. It's nuts, man. Stat corrections in fantasy sports. You can never, no win is safe until you get to around Thursday, except around championship week. Then you get the random Thursday stat correction that wins you a championship, Rome. Any other quarterbacks that you like? I mean, the only other one that I saw, but their defense kind of staunch here. You wouldn't trust Trevor Lawrence going up against Denver, would you?
Not really. I wouldn't want to do it.
Interested.
I'm trying to wait. Who did Denver play again last week? Forgot.
Oh, the Jets.
The Jets did not have a passing touchdown last week, right?
No, the Jets barely did anything.
Yeah, so that is now so Denver still allowed only 3 passing touchdowns on the season. They have given up the least amount of fantasy points to quarterbacks this year. Yeah, they have not allowed a passing touchdown since week 3 against Jimmy G. They allowed 2 to Geno Smith in week 1, 1 to Garoppolo. That's it. Now they face Davis Mills. Okay. Derek Carr. I mean, that's pretty good. A whole Carr to 188, no touchdowns. Matt Ryan, Justin Herbert. We all remember that winning the DraftKings scam.
That's right.
But yeah, no, their defense has played extremely well.
Is it bad? Let me interrupt you for a second. Is it bad that one of the things I look most forward to on the show is you giving whatever super boost or whatever?
Well, I got one for tonight. You ready for this one?
Wait, oh man, what is it? Let's hear it.
Okay, Giannis and Durant to each score 25 or more plus 100.
I kind of like that.
So do I. I think I might have to bet that.
Yeah, forwards. I mean,
unless first of all, I know we'll talk NBA after, but like Giannis destroys Brooklyn. There's no Chris Middleton. He had 44 points against Houston in 28 minutes. The Nets have been the worst team defensively this year. They're allowing 123 points per game. Game total's 231. Spread is tight. I don't see this being a blowout. No Middleton still. I mean, I haven't bet anything yet, but I'm kind of looking at some Giannis props. I might have to take that one.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, Brooklyn's front court defense has been bad for 3 years now, Roan. 3 years running.
Yeah, I mean,
and
it's
not going to get much better now. Ben Simmons. Come on. Dude, Ben Simmons, you see what he's not doing thus far? Where does this guy fit on this team? Where does he fit on any team, Roan?
Yeah, and then Klay Thompson it wasn't him, but he got ejected. But that parlay that I had, Klay getting ejected, crushed it. But Curry didn't get 25. So 2 legs of the 8-leg parlay did not hit.
Yeah, my big one was we should have talked about Zubox yesterday, but I forgot to bring him up there in the good matchup. They're the Devin.
This is why you listen to the show. When we got the news that Gilgeous-Alexander was active, I said, I am on his points and assists over 32.5. He cashed that easily. And I'll probably go right back to him tomorrow. Same matchup against the Clippers. I know it looks like Paul George will play. I don't care. If Gilgeous-Alexander is active, give me his points assist prop.
Yeah, Josh Giddey won't. I mean, regardless, both of them are safe when they're in. There are not many other reliable scorers on the team, but Josh Giddey is hurt as well. So if you need any more from the usage side of things to make it an even better matchup, SGA is in a prime spot here. We're going to get to James Grande here in just a minute to talk about the DFS NBA slate. Also ask him about some props as well. Maybe he's interested in what's being offered from the books as well, Roan, like you just asked me. Maybe we'll start with that with him. But also want to remind you that Jock Market, our sponsor here on the Playbook, offers live daily markets for sports that let you buy and sell shares of athletes in real time with other sports, all for real money. And each share is a guaranteed payout at the end of the night. Download now using promo code PLAYBOOK to receive 100% deposit match up to $100. Your first market will also be risk-free with losses refunded up to $100. Let's talk a little bit more. 10 games to dominate. James Grande, the king of the underscore, will help us do just that here on the Playbook on BSN.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis is sponsored by Jock Market. Make real money every hour, every minute, every second of every game.
Nando and Friends, presented by Mayo Media on Bettor Sports Network.
Matt Ryan was the most added quarterback in CBS Sports League this week.
I don't know why.
I'm like, that's weird. Like Matt Ryan against Tennessee, that's kind of like a strange. Everybody add him, benched, done, injured. But they said like Frank Reich's like, yo, it's going to be Sam Erlinger either way. Like Ryan's benched.
And normally I would like to come on here and say, hey, Frank Reich, why don't you look in the mirror and look at your performance?
Yeah.
Guess what? Matt Ryan is not playing well. Matt Ryan should not be a starting quarterback in the NFL right now. See, here's the thing, right? When these old quarterbacks go to Indianapolis, they're sold on, we got this great offensive line. No, you have a great offensive lineman in Nelson.
Right, Quentin Nelson.
The rest of those dudes stink. And now you put somebody my age back there, and you look at Matt Ryan, and all he's doing is watching the pass rush, trying not to get hit, and then throwing the football to wherever he can.
Yeah.
He leads the league in interceptions with 9. So Reich is probably thinking, if we can stop turning the ball over, maybe we could have something here. Now, the kid Ellinger, he's been a Heisman candidate. He's been a guy that's been a blue chip quarterback. So now they want to give him a shot to see if he could be the guy, or do they need to go draft a quarterback? So I think it's the right move to bench Matt Ryan at this point. Matt Ryan is washed up. Matt Ryan's been washed up for a couple years now.
Yeah.
And you keep saying to your fan base, oh, this veteran quarterback going to come in and save us. We almost was fooled again this year. There's a lot going on in Indianapolis. And O-line is problematic. That I don't think they're schemed well with the head coach. Matt Ryan throwing interceptions. The defense can't stop the run. They're on the field a lot and they don't go nowhere. They have these big, long drives and they miss a field goal. It's just a bad brand of football. It's time to bring in the kid.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com, sponsored by Jock Market. Stay in the game.
Get in the game if you haven't dabbled in NBA just yet, because FantasyAlarm.com has the NBA dream team that you need to succeed when it comes to season-long wagering and DFS. And joining us, because you already got a couple of members of the team here, John and Pemba, Ray Kuhn, part of that team, Ryan Kirksey. And then you've got this guy, the king of the underscore, who you can follow on Twitter at @the_real_grande. It's James Grande back on the playbook. What's up, James? Are you okay?
I'm great.
Okay.
I mean,
I just had to make sure, man, because I know you saw the report that unfortunately KZ Okpala, our guy, going to the bench, Keegan Murray looking like he's entering the starting lineup, man. And it hit me really hard. I'm an Okpala guy, but I just wanted to make sure that you're okay as well.
yeah, I mean, I was watching the show for the last 40 minutes. I could tell that your energy level wasn't there, and I wasn't exactly sure why, but
yeah,
I mean,
why.
It takes a big person to admit that, Fency. So I'm sure Adams had to carry the show through the last 40 minutes.
Difference between any other day. That's
That's a thing. It's opposite day, because normally it's me carried. But
all right, yeah, James. Should I? These DraftKings boosts are always crazy. The last one hit. What do you think of this one tonight? Because I'm always skeptical of these boosts. I feel like they're trying to steal our money. So Kevin Durant and Giannis to each score 25 or more from -210. Now it's +100. Got to do it, right?
Have to do it. I mean, we saw what happened the last time they linked up in a big time environment in the postseason a couple of years ago. Durant has looked great offensively, hasn't looked great from a DFS standpoint, but offensively he's clicking on all cylinders, coming up 37. And I mean, was that not the easiest 44 points you've ever seen that Giannis scored the other day? I mean, 27 minutes. Like, I think there's a reason to be skeptical. If there's one thing that we know, Giannis is a freak of nature in terms of length. And I am a little skeptical of this line to begin with. And it's even shrunk. I think it opened like 4.5 and now it's 3.5. I'm a little skeptical there because I don't think Brooklyn's all that good. But I think you kind of have to take plus money on two of the best players in the world scoring
All
more
right,
than
I just
25
bet it.
points.
So if I lose, you got to send me the bet because you convinced me to do it. I wasn't going to do it, and you pushed me to hit the button just now. So you'll have to pay. It's only $25, but you're going to have to send it to me if it doesn't cash.
All right, I'll send my carrier pigeon your way with
James. You could just send him part of the Home Depot gift card that I gave you, or something like that. You shouldn't have to pay out of pocket there. You could just say from your wedding. You could just send Ronus that. Okay.
Expensive.
Okay.
Oh, that's all gone. But, yeah.
Imagine that. Good. He's got jokes, Ronus. Expensive.
Yeah, no, this guy's a little. No, I gotta go at him for a second. This guy's a little too confident now, talking trash about the Giants.
What?
I mean, like,
what are you talking about?
On Twitter. Yeah, of course.
What are you talking about?
This is a basketball segment. What are you doing? We don't need to see that ugly Giants jersey. We're talking basketball right now. You got to come on here, chest all puffed out. I mean, good. Giants, great. But again, who was your only loss to? Refresh my memory. I don't remember. Who did the Giants lose to?
Hey, you know what? Last year, regular season, the Chiefs, who did they lose to in the regular season? They lost to the Buffalo Bills. And you know what?
Oh, yeah.
Look what happened in the playoffs. So you know what? We'll see.
So the Giants are winning the division? That's what's going on here? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, we have two games.
The Super Bowl, right, James?
I mean, we have 2 games against Philly, so we might control our own destiny here, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
I love this.
Hey,
I love talking to Giants and Jets fans right now. It's amazing because it's never like this, James.
I mean, it's been like 10 years, so I can't blame him for being excited. No, Giants fans deserve to be excited right now. They're just pulling this magic out every single week. And once again, they're underdogs this week. So you're all over the Giants money line, right?
I mean, likely no Metcalf, right? Not going to practice this week. The line is shrinking. I don't know if you saw that. There is money coming in on the Giants, and I think a lot of people have made a lot of money on the Giants, and I would definitely be on the Giants once again. I know it's in Seattle. It's obviously a tough environment to play, but the success on third down for the Giants defense has been tremendous. And
so you're not buying into the Geno Smith revenge game?
Oh God. This guy, I can't stand it. You gotta pick a side. You gotta pick a side, Rodas. You gotta pick a side. You're either all in or all out. James, when it comes to revenge, let's talk about this. Revenge narratives here. Is that how you handle it too? You have to.
I mean, Anthony Edwards has a big revenge narrative tonight against Anthony Towns after he called him out for his Popeyes.
True. First off, Popeye should not have caught that. Popeyes caught a stray when it didn't deserve the stray. Popeyes.
Yeah, James, it's very healthy for you, and I would want any athlete to eat Popeyes on a regular basis. So yeah, good point there.
Thank you, appreciate it. I mean, I think there's specific like bad breakup revenge narratives I'm okay with, but like if a guy just like left an organization he's been with for no reason, or like was just the backup on a team and then went to another team and stumbled into a situation that he just turned out to be good in, I mean, I don't think that's warranted of like, oh, the best revenge ever is Geno Smith, the former backup quarterback. Like, yeah, he was the backup quarterback. I'm sure that's great, but like that's not a narrative that I play into. Like bad breakup, someone's traded, Brooklyn playing against like James Harden forcing his way out. Like I think there's a little like Kevin Durant and Kyrie want to get back at James Harden for like I'm going, or Houston, right? Like wanting to get back at James Harden as an organization. That stuff I think matters. Backup quarterbacks moving on happens literally 24/7.
James, I want to ask you about a game with a high total tonight and what tied for the highest on the board. I know that could be moving, but Spurs Timberwolves is at 234.5, man. And I just feel like with this Spurs team being so bare, maybe we get away with a cheap game stack here. I don't know if that's part of your plan tonight when it comes to setting some of your DFS lineups, but both of these teams have weaknesses, especially on defense. The backcourt when it comes to Minnesota, the everywhere on the court when it comes to San Antonio. How are you looking at this matchup from a DFS standpoint?
I mean, I like it from both sides. I think it's just very hard to get to a lot of guys, especially in Minnesota, just given how they're priced. Like there's no flexibility within their pricing. Karl-Anthony Towns in current form has no reason to be 9K. I know it's a great spot. They're at home. Again, big favorites against a Spurs team without Devin Vassell tonight. But what has Karl-Anthony Towns done other than previous year's body of work to warrant a 9K price tag. I mean, it's a new team. Like there's another guy right next to him who is grabbing all of the rebounds. Anthony Edwards has been great in the glass too. So like, yes, one game of Karl-Anthony Towns was great against this Spurs team, but like the other 3 games have been mediocre. Rudy Gobert still not scoring the basketball other than the first game of the year. Why am I paying $8,700 for him? That's a 7K to 7.5 player that I have to go spend 8-7 on. I don't think I get there. I think Edwards is in a good spot. I really liked him the other night. He looked really good, but the ebb and flows of the Anthony Edwards train since he's really been since he was drafted. I mean, he's great, and then he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing, and he looks like he's disinterested. And he wants to go play football or whatever he says he wants to do. So, like, I like the game environment. I think it's great. I actually kind of like it more from the Spurs side of things, and I think that's because Devin Vassell's not in. San Antonio is just going to have to turn to a lot of guys elsewhere. I mean, Keldon Johnson has been nails this year, very consistent. I think you can go there in cash games. Josh Richardson, someone that we're kind of expecting to start. I think the debate is whether it's going to be Joshua Primo or Josh Richardson, but they've been using Primo in that backup point guard role. So I expect San Antonio to use Richardson as the 2, and then Primo, float between backup 1, backup 2 tonight. So I like both those guys. They should see mid-20s to mid-upper 20s to upper 20s minutes. So I like both them. I think Trey Jones, with Vassell being out, that solidifies 30-plus minutes for him. He's been solid. Should he be a starter? No, but the tank for Victor Wembanyama is fully on in San Antonio, so he's going to continue to play 30 minutes. So, I prefer the San Antonio side. Jalen Noel is someone I've been playing a lot of for Minnesota this year. He seemingly is their 6th man, and the minutes continue to rise as Jaden McDaniels continues to fall. McDaniels is foul happy. He could be a very good, lengthy defender at times, but when he's not providing that, Noel is the guy they're turning to. 16, 16, 14, 11 shot attempts for Noel. He leads them in usage rate. Stat of the day there for Minnesota. So if I'm using guys in this game, it's primarily San Antonio. And if I need a value play, I like Jalen Noel. I take one-offs with Edwards. I take a one-off with Towns if I'm building 20 lineups. But as great as the game environment is, it's very hard, especially on DraftKings, to really just jam these guys into your lineup.
Looks like there's a lot of guys that you could pay up for tonight. Who are a couple that you're eyeing that you really want to build around?
I mean, we mentioned Giannis, right? There is nobody on this slate, I don't think, that has the floor/ceiling combination that he has. I mean, just the points. I mean, 17 for 21 from the field is ridiculous. And I don't think that could happen. But Brooklyn has been there are bad defensive teams. They're here. Brooklyn's up here, on a tier by themselves. They've been significantly worse than everyone else. And Giannis is who Giannis is, 2-time MVP, finals MVP. I mean, the accolades speak for themselves. So I think Giannis is the clear-cut number 1 option tonight at the top. And I think ownership is going to reflect that too. So playing cash, Giannis is the first one in your lineup. And if you want to fade him in tournaments, that is completely your choice. You might not be as profitable as you would like, but if you were to, fade Giannis, Jokic is interesting because I think a lot of people are going to play Giannis and spend up on Giannis. But Denver, and a lot of people were burned by Jokic last game, right? Foul trouble, they get blown out. But now there's no Michael Porter. So Jokic will have to take on more of a role offensively. We already know Jamal Murray's limited too. So I think Jokic is fine. I love LeBron. Without Russell Westbrook, I mean, LeBron has looked as good as ever. He's looked as healthy as ever as the car just speeds down the road there. Just completely blocking my train of thought. But LeBron's been great. Under 10K is kind of criminal on DraftKings. When you take a guy like Russell Westbrook, who, as bad as he's been, he's still a ball dominant player. You take him off the floor and it's just going to open up a lot more opportunity for LeBron. Double-double, definitely in play. Triple-double, definitely in play for LeBron tonight against Denver. They need to win, right? I've never seen a team need to win more 4 games into the year than the Lakers do right now. They're apparently starting Austin Reeves, so, that's something. But I would say Giannis, Jokic, LeBron are the top 3. Honorary mention to non-fat suit wearing James Harden, because this year's version of James Harden does not look like the fat suit version, and he looks amazing this year. So honorary mention to him, but Giannis, Jokic, LeBron are the top spends for me tonight.
Yeah, Harden's points prop is 22.5 points. Is that too low?
I mean, you would say in 3 of the 4, very low, right? And he did one game, he did it against Boston, right? Opening night, we think of Boston as a good defensive unit, especially on the wings. I mean, they have the reigning defensive player in the year, Marcus Smart. Then he did it against the best defensive unit as in current form in Milwaukee. A game they only scored 88 points in. He scored 31. And then he has the bad game against the Spurs, still almost triple doubles. Didn't get to the free throw line. Hasn't really been getting to the free throw line. But then he torches Indiana. You know, Toronto is a good defensive team. They play slow. Feels kind of low, though. I mean, for current form, James Harden, who is taking all the shots in the world, I think Embiid's battling through whatever he's battling through, because he hasn't looked all that great himself. So, I mean, yeah, 22.5 looks low on the surface. Then you do got to factor in slow-paced team in Toronto and pretty good defensive unit. So that is definitely 2 things to consider when you're talking about Harden's points prop.
Another year, another struggling Orlando Magic team, even though I have had fun watching Paolo Banchero, man. This guy has been a force when he's going down the middle. Hard guy to stop once he takes that first step in the paint. But when you're looking at the Cleveland side of this, someone who's been pretty disappointing overall, and I know this was one of Ronus's favorite players last year. It's one of my favorites going into the year. Evan Mobley. What do you think about Evan Mobley going up? Because I know he hasn't been great, but it's Orlando, and it's a front court that you can beat. Maybe we'll have to see once Banchero gets a little bit more seasoned to see whether or not they're a step up defensively from what they were last year. But what do you think about Evan Mobley, even in, let's just say, GPPs? Because this is someone I can't imagine too many people are going to be on.
Yeah, I mean, I think this game is hard to really love because Cleveland is so lengthy in the front court, and I know Orlando's matching that length, but Cleveland defensively is going to give a lot of teams a lot of issues. I don't like that the price is rising on Evan Mobley, to be honest, because he just hasn't given us a lot. And I know Darius Garland's not there, but with Darius Garland not being there, you would expect Evan Mobley to take double-figure shot attempts. Hasn't once this year. You would expect maybe a little more production on the glass. Hasn't. Jared Allen's been there. Donovan Mitchell has been very good on the glass as well. He's great defensively, and I think Evan Mobley is going to win multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards throughout his career. I'm very high on him too. I think his development, skill development offensively, could be elite as well. He's just not there for me. And maybe if the price tag was where it was opening night, where he's under 6K, I might consider it. And it is a good matchup, but prove it to me that you are not just going to be a defensive stalwart and assert yourself offensively. Look, everyone is just getting out of the way for Donovan Mitchell. He took 30 shots last game, and I know there was overtime, but he took 25 of them in regulation. So it's really Donovan Mitchell and everyone else for Cleveland right now. I like some of the ancillary pieces like Chetty Osman, who has been playing a big role off the bench since Darius Garland went down. I even like Kevin Love in tournaments to an extent because he's not afraid to shoot the ball. And we know what Kevin Love can, if he gets it going offensively. I mean, he's very cheap, under 5K. Mobley just is not doing it for me. And if the price is going to continue to rise, I'm going to continue to back further and further away.
Another game with a high total tonight. Bulls Pacers 234.5. Who stands out in this game, if anyone, for DFS?
So I think it's definitely from the Bulls side because Indiana's just been bad defensively. Now they are getting Miles Turner back tonight. At least he's expecting to play, make his first start of the year since February of last year, I think it was. So we will see Miles Turner back for Indiana tonight. So that's going to help them in the middle. I really like Zach LaVine tonight specifically. I think Zach LaVine looked, healthy. He didn't look good in that game against Boston, but 32 minutes was moving extremely well. The athleticism all the way back. The knee injury doesn't look to be any type of hindrance. He had a 33-point game against Indiana last year, averaged 22.5 points. So I really like LaVine. 7,700 is very cheap. I always talk about Zach LaVine over 8K. It's just like really hard to get there because they have a lot. They're a very top heavy team. Nikola Vucevic is, dominant on the glass, and DeMar DeRozan obviously hogs the ball a whole bunch. And when Lonzo's healthy, they're very top heavy, but there's no Lonzo. We know DeRozan is very fond of Zach LaVine. I think DeRozan even knows like this is LaVine's team, and I'm here along for the ride. So I really like LaVine 7,700. I like Vucevic a little bit, even with Miles Turner being good defensively. Miles Turner is a terrible rebounder. If one thing we know about Miles Turner, Vucevic has 2 games of 17 plus rebounds. Wouldn't surprise me to see him get another big rebounding night. And 7,900, I think, is too cheap. Don't think a lot of people go there. I think a lot of people are either spending up to Jokic or Embiid, or kind of going that mid tier to like the Jakob Poeltls of the world, or John Collins. Kelly Olynyk is center eligible. So I like Vucevic. On the Indiana side, like it's like kind of Tyrese Halliburton or bust with this Miles Turner news back, because Halliburton has been extremely consistent. He was benched in the Spurs game. All the starters came back, still gave us 27 and 12 and a double-double, 50 fantasy points. He's shown a 40 fantasy point floor this year. But the Miles Turner thing just muddies up the waters. Like, I would have loved to play Jalen Smith in a tournament. Can't really do that, I don't think, anymore, especially with his price on the rise. Isaiah Jackson's now back to the bench. Goga Batadze now probably fully out of the rotation. And Benedict Mathurin, I think, not the best spot. And we saw when he's not lighting it up for 26 plus actual points, there is a floor that will take us out of the running for GPPs, especially when no one's playing him. So I really like LaVine. I really like Vucevic. Halliburton's fine on the other side, but that's really all I'm getting to in that game.
Hanging out with James Grande from fantasyalarm.com. Give him a follow on Twitter at _real_Grande. Not only does a lot of DFS work and also covers multiple sports as well, as you heard him talking football before, but also for those that are playing on Underdog too, one of our partners at Fantasy Alarm, James does content for Underdog as well, which I love very much. And I can't wait until Maryland is fully legalized and I can get back on playing Underdog and sweating stuff out with James every single night when there's a nice, healthy NBA slate. James, thank you so much for joining us. I just got one random question to ask you. Do you have an external microphone? Because considering that the mic arm on your headset has been up the entire time, and not down towards your mouth, you've actually had pretty good sound quality.
I do have an external microphone.
Okay. I've known you probably didn't even notice that at all, right?
I don't care about those things.
Okay, thanks a lot, bro. Thank you, OC. See, James, see what I get to deal with here every day. It's fun, let me tell you. James, thanks so much for joining.
He's such a nerd when it comes to this stuff. Who cares? Well, Can I hear you? Yeah, that's all that matters.
Mike's not down. I'm very impressed by that. I thought about messaging you like mid-interview. You don't have to.
Well, then it's clear that he has another mic, right?
Well, it's not. I had to ask right and just ask right. That's the thing. So it's not clear. It's unclear. But James, thank you for handling our shenanigans here on the playbook. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, James Grande is probably thinking, what do you think? Will James Grande want to join us once again, Roan, after what we put the guy
he
through?
Looks like he's bored at home, so I think he will want to join us.
Well, maybe he'll go to a strip club then if he's bored. What do you think?
Oh, that's true. He doesn't look like a strip club guy.
Yeah, James, I don't think. James, you're still with us. Are you a strip club guy?
No, I am not.
Okay, he hesitated.
Because his wife is somewhere
who's watching
around
right
there. That's
now?
why, yeah.
Who's
he's
watching?
Like, oh, damn. He's nervous. He's drinking water. He's sweating. He's like, oh, I hope she doesn't hear this.
Getting hot in here, Grande. Getting hot in here. Or is it just the conversation?
He's drinking water. I see the sweat pouring. He's like turning red. He's like, oh, I think she hears us.
He's guys, just let me go. Please stop.
Meanwhile, he's going to cash in with all the picks he give out on Fantasy Alarm and go to strip club later tonight. Have fun.
Boom. Enjoy. James Grande. Give him a follow once again on Twitter at _real_Grande. Just a great dude and a very hard worker. And that's one of the great things of working at fantasyalarm.com. Just working with a lot of people who are very into it, very into their work. Every single play means something. We don't like to get anything wrong, but when we do, we will always admit it for you. He's Ronas. I'm Fensty. Let's turn down the mood a little bit. We've been laughing a lot this show. Let's talk about what's pissing us off. Pissed is next here on the Playbook on BSN.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, sponsored by Jock Market. Stay in the game. The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern.
Breece Hall is down flat on his back, surrounded by the Jet training staff.
Yeah, absolutely sucks. You hate to see him go down 4 for 72 and a touchdown before getting hurt. I thought if we were doing a redraft today, he probably would have went in the first round. He's probably well on his way to winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's just terrible. He's been fun to watch. We were taking his props, and you hate injuries. You hate seeing players go down. Breece Hall's just brutal, and I have him in a 14-team league, so it really, really hurts because he was making up for my Najee Harris stupid pick in June. Like I said, only league I have him in, as I dug deeper and I said I don't want Najee Harris. So now I have to rely on him, which is not good in a 14-team league. But it really, really sucks to have one of the most exciting young running backs in the league go down.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Carolina is just dumb. They're just dumb. They don't get it. They hired the wrong coach. They hired the wrong OC. They traded for the wrong quarterback. They made the wrong trade here with San Francisco. It's wrong. It's just wrong all the way around. You have to get a first-round pick for Christian McCaffrey. The deadline, folks, is November 1st. So if this were October 31st, cool, strike the deal. You waited. All right, there's no first out there for us. Cool. Let's pull the trigger here, second, third, fourth, fifth. Let's do the deal with San Fran. Because this deal would be out there the whole time. San Fran's not going anywhere. If they think that they might get McCaffrey, taking it all the way up to the deadline, they're not shipping out their second, third, and fourth and fifth round picks in the future. They're going to keep them just in case Carolina wants to pick that phone back up and say, yo, let's strike a deal. This is dumbassery by the Carolina Panthers front office. Why are you doing this now? Oh, we don't want to play Christian McCaffrey and have him get hurt, and then we have no trade. Come on, man. Be more creative.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Bettor Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis is sponsored by Jock Market.
I'm not mad. No! I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. You see, whenever I get angry, I just recite this little poem, calms me down. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. What the heck is bothering me? You know, that really grinds my gears. I'm very angry. I'm feeling very angry about that. I'm really, I'm enraged. You know what I do when I'm mad, Paul? I hit a pillow. Just hit the pillow. See how you feel. Feel better? Yeah, I do.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The Playbook continues, and it's time to get angry, mean, and pissed and talk about what's pissing us off here. Been having a lot of fun hanging with you guys, as always, here on Bettor Sports Network here. But, Rome, before we start ranting and raving here, let's get back to our Bettor fans very quickly. Work and Grind is asking us a little bit about Jock Market, so I want to take the opportunity one more time to kind of explain it to you and then break it down further, and that you could download the Jock Market app now using the promo code Playbook and bid on shares of athletes in real time before the games in the IPO phase, and trade shares, and while you can trade them live, which is great while the games are happening. Jock Market is currently live in 36 states. More to come for NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, PGA, and NASCAR. There's even a link that you can click right there below us here on the Bettor Sports Network app. Work and Grind asking us about that. It's more day trading than anything long-term work and grind here. That's why it kind of resets in the IPO phase is new every single week. And then Burn Baby Burn asking us about Superflex quarterback strategy, roam between Aaron Rodgers, PJ Walker, and Trevor Lawrence. We were talking about how Trevor Lawrence's matchup naturally against the Broncos, very stifling defense when it comes to allowing touchdown receptions. Not many. Who are you looking at 2 of the 3 for Burn Baby Burn?
I mean, I think you have to go Rodgers, Lawrence. I know Walker was fine last week, but we haven't really seen that a lot from him. And it's, he had 177 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. So it's not like he lit it up, and he still only had 22 pass attempts. So I'd have to play Rodgers and Lawrence in that situation.
Let's talk about, Roan, what's frustrating us this week as we do every single week at this time, Roan. Unfortunately, the New York Mets, it's been a while now since we've seen them play. So now I feel like with your material, with endless Mets disappointment, I feel like that's going to have to sit on ice until next year. What's pissing you off this week?
Not too much, or at least a lot of stuff that I can't say on this show. But I'll say one thing is these stupid, and I don't pay attention to them, but they do pop up on my timeline a lot. These stupid NFL power rankings. There's no logic to them. It's all based on records. Oh, let's just rank the Bills 1, the Eagles 2. Like the Giants are 4 in the ESPN rankings. I get they're 6-1. Is there anyone who believes the Giants are the 4th best team in football? Come on, they're not. Vikings 5. Oh yeah, they're 5-1. So they have the Jets 8th. Okay, the Bengals right behind them. If the Bengals play the Jets today, who's winning that game?
The Bengals by probably 14 to 21 points.
I mean, come on, man. Just because they're 4-3, they got up to a slow start. Yes, the ugly loss week 1 against Pittsburgh, lost to Dallas and Cooper Rush. But really, the Jets are above them? Come on, man. It's just all they do is by record. I mean, the 49ers are 14. Is there anyone who believes the 49ers are the 14th best team in football right now? I know they've had a lot of injuries, but come on, man. They're better than this. You're not taking the 49ers over the Rams right now? And I know they play this week. The 49ers are not better than Tennessee. Tennessee is ranked 11th. Yeah, they're 4-2. Have they beaten anyone? They're playing in a crappy division. And again, I underestimated them. And the concern I had was Mike Vrabel. And I think he is one of the best coaches in the NFL. Never had a losing season. He gets his guys to play hard every single week. But they're not better. It's just ridiculous, man. Like Tampa Bay is 17th. I understand, and I think they have issues. But really, the Buccaneers are behind the Tennessee Titans by like 6-7 spots. Come on, man.
This is why I don't like power rankings, Ron. They really
stupid. It's such a waste.
What's the point? What's the point?
It's such a waste. It's just like, okay, let's just go by records, and that's essentially what they do. We all know that just because you're 5-1 doesn't mean you're a great team. Who did you play? Did you catch breaks? You know what I mean? So, like, it's the same thing every week. It's just a waste of time. It's all by record, and almost all of them are like that. And again, I don't actively seek them out. I just noticed it. It came up on my timeline a couple times this week, and I'm like, damn, this is so stupid. It's the same thing. I mean, what's the point? We know what's going to happen. Oh, I do see one here, The Ringer. They do have the Bengals high, so I give them credit. They have them 6.
I just don't understand. I mean, I guess maybe from the way the Ringer's doing it there, not taking record into consideration, I just never understood what the point of power rankings were. We have standings.
I guess it's probably just clickbait material. People look at it, and it gets people to talk about it and criticize. But the ESPN one is so vanilla. It's the same. It's basically by records, man. It's just you can't do it, man. There's so many intangibles that go into it, and
you know what the problem with it is, and I'm sure this is part of your frustration as someone who is very into the wagering side of things. I'm sure it's frustrating because people see those power rankings and they start placing bets on the Jets to make a run or something like that, or the Giants.
If they're doing that, then they're definitely throwing their money away. But yeah, CBS is the same thing. Vikings 4, Giants 5, Cowboys 6. Okay, you're going to say I'm biased because I'm a Cowboys fan. I know the Cowboys are 5-2 and the Giants are 6-1. The Cowboys beat the Giants.
Yeah.
Should the Cowboys be ahead of the Giants now? You guys tell me.
I think they
should. If you were doing rankings, who would you rank higher, Cowboys or Giants?
I think the Cowboys are a better team.
And
by the way, you know what else you have to take into account when it comes to the Giants or when it comes to the Cowboys? The health as well. Yeah, I feel like with power rankings especially, there has to be other outside factors that you take into account and not just record and maybe strength of schedule.
They played 5 games with a backup quarterback and went 4-1. And the loss was to the Eagles, who everyone has number 2 in the rankings. So, you know, why? Oh, so the Giants are 1 game better than the Cowboys. So we'll put them higher. Cowboys beat them. And the Cowboys, okay, the opening loss was to Tampa Bay. They played terribly. And again, I don't think the Cowboys are great. But when you're comparing them to the rest of the NFL, what they could do in a defensive line, they have a shot. Dak comes back and they win pretty easily. Not that he did much, but they won 24-6. They didn't allow a touchdown. Again, I've given the Giants a lot of credit. As much as I despise them, I said Dable was a great hire. I said this in week 2 and 3, and I'm still surprised that they're 6-1. You have to give them credit, but we're going to just rank them as a top 5 NFL team because they're 6-1. I don't think anyone believes they're a top 5 NFL team right now. And yes, there's a lot of bad teams in the NFL. A lot of them have flaws. I mean, I know the Giants beat the Ravens. I think if they played again, I'd take the Ravens. And the Ravens are one of those teams where, again, they blew 3 games pretty badly, and they're 4-3. Again, they have flaws. Every team has flaws, but it's just so stupid because you just go down. Okay, here are the rankings: 6-0, 5-1, 5-2, 5-1, 6-1, 5-2, 5-2, 4-2, 4-3, 4-3, 4-3, 4-3, 4-3. I mean, I can do that. There's no creativity there. I mean, we're just going to take the records and list them and then go, well, okay, Ravens, Seahawks, Ravens are a little better. We'll put them ahead. I mean, what is the point of this?
It's stupid.
I don't know.
I never understood what the point of power rankings articles are. I just really don't. To this day, I never understood it. I used to think maybe it was derived from how the NCAA and the AP polls and all that kind of stuff for the college rankings. I thought it was maybe an offshoot of that. But I just think, Ron, people love rankings. I think that's what it is. They love rankings. And I love ranking stuff too. People love rankings. And we can rank top 10 best movies of all time. Let's just say, maybe not you. You know, not as much the movie guy. But at the same time, we love ranking and everything. But these power rankings are a waste, like you're saying, because you just go to the tab and any of the site, go overall standings, boom. A lot of these power rankings are the exact same thing of going to that tab.
Yeah, I mean, I just read down that's basically what they did. They just went in order of records. Okay, great. I can do that myself.
Yes.
Look at the standings.
The Briscoe's power rankings on CBS. Must read every single week. I'm with you, man. And what else is frustrating you? Anything else you want to get off your chest?
Not that I can say on this platform.
Check swing there for Adam Rodas here. It must be bad if he's check swinging. I see it. Did he go? Did he go? Nope, he didn't go.
There are rules to this.
Yeah, there are rules to this. There are absolutely. Are there rules to this?
Yeah, I mean, you said no. What? Let me see if it's on. I don't think it's on the.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yes.
It is on the doc, isn't it? Let me see.
Are the rules? The rules are we don't add anything political or we don't add anything religion-wise as well there. So, Ron, you're good, Ron? You're passing it over to
good.
me? Okay, just making sure.
Saying, I don't know if you've seen what just say there was something passed in New York the last few days that I think is pretty interesting. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, then we will leave it at that, and we will go on to stupid fantasy.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think I have a clue, but
okay.
We'll talk more. We'll sidebar on that because this is something we have to discuss. I've had 2 people come up to me over the last 3 days and tell me that their fantasy football commissioners are changing rules mid-season. And
why do you play with preschool kids?
It's not my leagues, man.
I know, but you know a lot of preschool guys. What rules are they changing?
Okay, so for instance, our buddy, I'll just say, he said I could say his name, our buddy Sandro Anello, for our producer, Sirius XM. He came to me today and was telling me that the commissioner of his league decided to change how many moves you can make and stuff like that. There was apparently in this league some kind of 17 move max, and then all of a sudden the commissioner is expanding the moves now 7 weeks into the season and change. And I don't understand that. And then, there are other things that commissioners are changing rules on trading. Now, all of a sudden there's voting on trades instead of commissioner access. These rules can't be changed mid-season. They can't be. The season started. Whatever mistakes that you made, that's on you as the commissioner. I've made mistakes as a commissioner before. Last year, my home basketball league, my executive league, something swung right by me that I didn't even catch. IR spots during NBA COVID. I had 1 IR spot. In Ronus's league that I'm in this year, we have like 5 IR spots. I had 1 last year during the COVID NBA year in part 2 that we had. And you know what? I had someone come to me 2 weeks into the season say, look, my team is getting crushed by COVID. Can we please add 1 more IR spot? And I said no, because the season started already 2 weeks before. 4 weeks after that, I had half the league come to me and ask me if we can add the IR spot. Pretty much everybody in the league. I had to say no, because it wouldn't have been fair to the guy whose roster was crushed week 2 of the NBA season because of COVID last year. So you know what? I had to eat some crow. I had to take some crap from the league, and it was a stupid mistake I made anyway. But I did not change it. I can't change it because it's not fair. Because we've all been playing under one set of rules for this long. Now, to benefit you as the commissioner, you're going to change the rules mid-season, even getting league pressure. You don't change the rules mid-season. Ron, I'm even against having the league band together and ask for a vote to change the rule mid-season. I don't care if it's overwhelming majority or everybody votes on one side. The season is 7 weeks in. We're not dealing with what we dealt with 2 years ago or the COVID contingency plan that we had to enact because of all that was going on, not knowing if games were going to play, games for the week before being moved to Wednesday. This is totally different, and it's stupid and moronic, and I am not supportive of league changes mid-season.
Yeah, no, you can't do it. I've said it. Rules have to be in by day one unless everyone agrees to it, and it's some usually an unextraordinary circumstance that's not normal, like COVID-19. I think that was different, but right now that's not a factor. So no transactions for how many moves, no, because people are planning out before the year or as each week goes. So say you have a max of 75 moves, they're like, okay, well, it's week 7. Damn, I've already made this many moves. All right, I can't make this move. I'm going to wait it out. And then you change it. Whether you can't do it. People plan a certain way. So you cannot make any rule changes once the season begins, unless, again, everyone agrees to it. And even in that circumstance, I don't really want to do that. I'm a commissioner of many leagues. The rules are what they are. They're in place, and that's it. We knew it from the start of the year, and that's it. There's really nothing to argue about.
No, there's not, but it happens in casual leagues, and it shouldn't happen. And work and grind, saying, look, we all make mistakes, work and grind. You almost had missed field goals set to positive points. That's a good one right there. Your field goal kicker misses a field goal, and then you still get points for it. I mean, look, mistakes
I think,
happen.
and that's, but I always say this is, yes, the commissioner's responsible for that, but people in the league should always look at the rules before the year and point out a mistake to the commissioner. It's happened to me where someone went through it and they said, hey, this is set up. I'm like, okay, good catch. I'll fix it. Because the commissioner has a lot of responsibility and sometimes things can slip through. So, I always did it when Matt Deutsch set up Sirius XM leagues. I always went through and I always found something. No disrespect to Matt. I know he's very busy and everything, but schedule wasn't done.
Oh, that was every year. Every year, the schedule
there was always
done.
something, and I would point it out, because it's not fair to just leave it on the commissioner. So everyone in the league, people assume, everything's good. I always look through everything before the year to make sure, number one, do I like this league? Do I want to join it? And also in case there's no mistakes, because you don't want week 1 to happen and then, oh, wow, this is what was the scoring. This is wrong. You want to get it before the year starts.
Absolutely. So help your commissioners out. And by the way, if you're in a situation right now where your commissioner is trying to change a league rule and putting it up to vote, and the league commissioner is coming to you being like, hey, everybody is in on this, but you're staunchly against it, please, solidarity. Just hang there. Don't say yes. If it has to be everybody voting in order to change the rule, no. Then you say no. And if people are just giving you crap for the next few weeks, they're giving you crap. But that's not the way you play fantasy. So if you feel like you still don't want a rule change because it's stupid mid-season, then stay with your vote against it so that it doesn't change. That's nothing bad. And work and grind saying like even people are pissed underneath when they're agreeing because they don't want to be the guy that gets shelled on from the rest of the league. And I understand that. But at the same time, rules should not be changed mid-season. And then finally, because I've ran into this twice today actually, and that's delay time. I'm very punctual. When I want to be, timing's everything to me. We have a lot going on, all of us. So when I have an appointment, like at a doctor, one of Ronus's favorite places, the doctors,
or avoid going at all costs,
or at another one of Ronus's favorite places, the barber, when I have a 2:15 appointment, I shouldn't be just seen at 2:45. Just like if I have a doctor's appointment set for 9 a.m., I shouldn't be sitting there at 9:45 a.m., an early morning appointment. I get it. There are some delays. Not everything runs on time. 5 minutes, fine. 7 minutes, fine. 10, the absolute max. And if it happens consistently, I'm out of there. But when it's 25, 30, 40 minutes, that's ridiculous already. Reschedule the times there. I'd much rather you tell me, hey, I'm a half an hour behind here. So, okay, great. So I could do more prep and then come to the haircut, and I'm at least being productive there. And it doesn't take a while to cut my hair, okay? It takes like 10 minutes. But it was the baked in 45 minutes because I'm waiting. It's just, Ron, it's one thing when people are late by a few minutes, by maybe 10 minutes, fine. I understand that. It's not everything is media, radio, or anything like that where we start at an exact second. But at the same time, 30, 45 minutes, semi-consistently, get the hell out of here with that.
Yeah, it is annoying, man. And it happens way too often with doctors. There's no question about it, man. So fortunately, I don't deal with them too much.
No.
But yeah, I do have to deal with doctors this week and next week. So I'm hoping that it goes smoothly and it's not too bad. But yeah, they're gonna make you wait. It's just, you know it too.
And
like I don't even know why they even deal with appointments at this point.
Yeah, you could get there early and be like, you're thinking you're outsmarting everyone by getting early. Nope. They'll just wait. And then, it's like, we'll get there early and then they'll still wait 5 minutes just to come in and then do the height, the weight, and all that kind of stuff. But then it's another 35, 40 until the doctor comes in. And that's why even trying to get the first appointment, because when you have a small child, you go to the doctor a decent amount. You have a milestone appointments. But still, I try to get that early morning, that first appointment, and it's still a baked-in stoppage time soccer game style. And it's stupid, Ronan. I can't take it anymore.
I have to go to the doctor 3 times in the next week, man. I am dreading it. I never do that.
I'm sorry, man. That's like detention for you, essentially.
Yeah, man. Just it's not going to be good. I just need to get through it and move on.
Yep, dude. We need your advice here for the next 65,000 years. So we got to make sure that you're okay. What would we do? This show wouldn't survive without you.
No, I would get canceled.
Yeah, instantly. You're who's the draw here? Adam Ronis, that's who. Give him a follow on Twitter at Adam Ronis. I'm at Fensty Sports if you dare on Twitter. Let's talk a little bit more NBA. We'll go over injuries. We'll go over props. And we'll go over plays that we like for tonight. Here it is, the playbook powered by fantasyalarm.com and sponsored by Jock Market here on Bettor Sports Network.
Don't miss the playbook presented by fantasyalarm.com weekdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. Sponsored by Jock Market. Stay in the game.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Bettor Sports Network.
There was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
A 60-year-old dude eyeballing it. And then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have satellite. If you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry. Couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And, they bring up the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
And I can see that number live while he's doing it. I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right? He's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
On call with Dr. Roto.
If the Giants don't win another game this year, A, I'll be shocked. But B, I'll still think that they're better than they were with Joe Judge. Much better. Because I think Brian Dable's got a lot out of this team already. And I'm seeing what this team could be. See, that's the problem with owners and general managers. I see Nathaniel Hackett and I see a guy who can't get it done. I see Matt Rule and see a guy who never should have been hired. Disaster right away. Sometimes a good coordinator in the NFL is better. I don't even say sometimes. Most of the time, a good coordinator in the NFL is better than a college coach because the NFL coordinators, they know the system. They've been there. They've played. They've been around it. For the life of me, I don't know why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. Deuce Staley is going to get a job. Somebody's going to hire that dude. When you've been around the game, you understand it. These college guys come, they don't know it.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Bettor Sports Network.
We'd like to thank Jock Market for sponsoring the Playbook with Fensty and Ronis. Jock Market. Make real money every second of the game.
Get down.
Damian Lillard, turnaround three-pointer, good. Wow. Guides it in from long range. Didn't even look at the target. He's got 15.
Rozier to a streaking Tatum. He's a block from behind by Giannis. Oh my goodness, what a play.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis. Presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Justin Fensterman, Adam Ronis back with you. Let's talk some hoops. 10 games on the slate. And the big injury that we're waiting on at this point, Roan, and I haven't seen any kind of update, but Scotty Barnes, game time decision with that ankle injury. That's the real big one that we're waiting, especially with the Raptors here being once again looking like they're going to be going very heavily when it comes to their starters' minutes. They're not going to be using many of their reserves, probably outside of Precious Achiuwa consistently. They're just going to be playing their starters heavy minutes, pretty much 35 plus when they're healthy for the whole season.
Yeah, and that's typical of them. So, yeah, that's one that we're waiting on at this point. Pretty much everything else, I think, is pretty clear cut. But it's the NBA. They could always be a last-minute thing. And as we mentioned before, it looks like Miles Turner will play. And we know Westbrook is out.
Yeah, probably better off that Westbrook is out for the Lakers. He just is very
I think the Lakers could win tonight. I actually did a parlay involving Anthony Davis points and the Lakers getting a win. So, I mean, it's long odds, but it was a free bet, so I'm shooting for the moon. But I think the Lakers can win tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Lakers.
Denver has been terrible defensively this year, man.
Yeah, man. I think part of that, believe it or not, you know what I think the big difference is with this team, and I know that he was out for a decent amount and he's been a little banged up, but not having someone like Will Barton really hurts you. Will Barton is a 3-position player. You need him to bring up the ball, he can do so. You need him to shut down the perimeter on the wing, he'll do that. And I'm not saying that he's the only reason, but when you take a guy like that, a good rotational piece out, now you're relying on guys like Aaron Gordon. You're relying on Michael Porter Jr., who clearly is still being somewhat monitored as well. It's just that between him and Jamal Murray and their health issues that they've had, I'm really wondering because people were whispering, asking me if I thought Denver could win the championship. I wasn't what I thought bold enough to put that bet out there, despite them having Jokic, despite them being what we thought healthier there. But their depth isn't as impressive, Roan, and I'm not so sure about this team this year.
I think they'll be fine. I think you knew that going into the year was going to be a slow start as they get Porter and Murray acclimated to playing again, and Porter is out tonight. He'll have some games where he doesn't play, but I mean, this team has made runs in the playoffs with those guys. So I think they do have a shot in the West.
Who are in your starting five? What players are in your starting five for tonight? I mean, we talked about this before. You and I pretty much rotate on and off regarding who's doing the starting five video for NBA and DFS on FantasyAlarm.com. Just a video that gives you 5 players, different price points, 1 point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center, who we like on the slate there. So I saw that your cover was Giannis for obvious reasons, but who else made your starting five for tonight?
Trey Jones, because he's still pretty cheap, and same matchup as the other night when he had a good line against Minnesota. I do expect Minnesota to bounce back and win tonight. Same matchup, and the Spurs won the other night, but I expect Minnesota to bounce back and win. But Devin Vassell is out, so maybe it's not like Jones shoots a lot, but maybe he takes a couple more shots. So for the price point, Donovan Mitchell, he's just been tearing it up, and no Darius Garland once again. Not the ideal total against the Magic, but he's got to score for them. And I went with him. And then a bounce back from Lauri Markkanen. He's been great this year. Now, same matchup as the other night against the Rockets. He had a down game, and I think that was because they were coming off a back-to-back where he played overtime the previous night, played 39 minutes, and I think it was also their third game in 4 nights, so they just didn't have it against the Rockets. But now it's in Utah. They had a day of rest, and we know how bad the Rockets are defensively, and Markkanen has had 2 games this year of 50-plus fantasy points, and he's still I think it was 6,500 on DraftKings. So if you can get potential 50 at that price, that's going to really help you get in a guy like Giannis. And then cheap at center with Kelly Olynyk. Same thing. Good spot for him in this game. And I think Utah bounces back.
Yeah, one of the things, I mean, going into the Rudy Gobert trade, I think they thought that Udoka Azubuike would be moving forward the starting center there, but we haven't seen him still. He's hurt. So now it's been a 3-pronged attack and approach to guarding that center spot. And you mentioned Olynyk, an Ainge guy. So that's someone that will definitely be in that rotation. But it's funny, when you look at the Jazz, you know who's really not doing much? Colin Sexton.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he's not playing as many minutes.
You would think that that trade that they made for Mitchell, going back, he was the central piece. But it's been Markkanen, who's been excellent. But Colin Sexton, and maybe because Conley's been playing all right, and Jordan Clarkson has had a very nice start to the year, but Colin Sexton isn't doing much, man.
He's not getting the minutes.
I don't know why he's not either. Yeah, I'm wondering, man, if he's just one of those guards. And I thought about this with Cleveland because if you looked at Sexton versus Garland, I mean, Garland could do a lot more. I'm wondering if maybe Sexton is just pegged as just a scorer. That's it. And he can't really do much in game when on the floor to help the team otherwise, and maybe hit some shots with his streaky shooting ability.
Maybe, or maybe they're showcasing Conley to trade him. But what do you need to show? I mean, we kind of know who he is, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I thought Sexton would play more.
Yeah, it's very odd there. It is very odd. You even have guys like Jared Vanderbilt getting some playing time. This is what happens with these rebuilding teams, man. With them, you're going to be seeing a lot of players who were all of a sudden bench 7th, 8th guys now starting and getting meaningful minutes there. But that's very bizarre with what's going on with Colin Sexton there. And everybody's saying, they love that the deal that they got. You know, all of the Jazz fans there that I'm seeing on Twitter, thank you so much. Instead of getting Quentin Grimes, who's injured on the Knicks right now in the trade that almost happened between the Cavs and the Knicks for Donovan Mitchell, they instead get Lauri Markkanen. And I think that Lauri Markkanen is someone that was a little misunderstood. I mean, this was someone coming in, and I know that he suffered some injuries when he was on Chicago, but that Cleveland team was just loaded with size, man. That was the problem. It was too much of a logjam. And I love that Skyline lineup that they put out last year when they had Jared Allen and Evan Mobley and then Markkanen at the 3. But the problem with that is we don't get to see what Markkanen can fully do when he's at banger in that power forward spot instead of just hanging there at the 3 at the arc.
I mean, look, I drafted him in a league, and I was eyeing him in our league, but I didn't get him. I think the guy picking on the turn took him. I don't know if you were going to take him before he got back to me. I don't know.
I was going to take him.
Okay. Yeah. So, I'm happy with the way he's performing so far, and expected a big usage on this offense, and we're seeing it so far, despite the down game in the last one. I think he bounces back tonight.
Mr. Revenge Narrative, what do you think of Dennis Smith Jr. revenge narrative against the Knicks with just about every other guard in Charlotte out at this point?
Yeah, I mean, there's a big opportunity for him. For sure. I mean, you can use him in DFS.
Yeah.
I don't know about, his props, 13.5 points, 6.5 assists. That's pretty high.
That is high. Wow. 6.5. That's his assist.
Yeah.
Damn, man. I thought we'd be able to get away with like a 4.5 for him.
No, They adjusted on this one. So, I mean, they are really shorthanded. So,
no LaMelo Ball, no Rozier, no Martin. Kelly Oubre. It's going to be literally Smith, Oubre, and Gordon Hayward, and that's pretty much how it's going to be handled with the Rock. This whole Miles Bridges thing, I think it really hurt this team. I just think they didn't know what.
I don't think they were that good to begin with.
What, Charlotte?
Yeah.
No, I mean, you would think that maybe they would start to ascend a little bit, but they don't have size. And the size that they do have, they're not going to let just play. And now all of a sudden they're trying to figure out who their best option at center is. Is it going to be someone like Plumlee, who's just a stand-in and stopgap? Washington's going to rotate there. They also have Richards, and they also have Mark Williams, the rookie as well from Duke, out there. They're still trying to decide. And that's been the Hornets' problem. And that's why I told you, Rome, that if there was any team that should have gone after a DeAndre Ayton and paid him a boatload, it's that team.
Yeah, they should have for sure, but that's been one of their problems for a few years now, and that's why we attack them on the inside with bigs.
What do you think about the guards? Because I've got to get some numbers up here, because I feel like the guards in this Hawks-Pistons game can put up some serious production, and that's on both sides of the ball, between the inexperience of the Detroit guards and the defensive issues of the Hawks guards. I'm wondering if maybe someone like an Ivy would be very valuable there, and maybe the books will be a little bit nicer when it comes to his props. And then on the other side, I mean, I never know who to trust. I guess at first I thought it was going to be DeJounte Murray exclusively bringing up the ball, and Trae Young was going to be playing off the ball. I said that, but Trae Young is still very much on the ball. It's hard for me to decide who the true two is in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think they're both going to put up numbers. I mean, Trae hasn't shot the ball well so far. He's only shooting 32.4% from the field. So maybe you go, all right, maybe is this a bounce back spot? I mean, even with his poor shooting, he still put up 23, 25, and 28 points. And the assists have been ridiculous, 13, 13, and 9. So one of these games he's going to go off and shoot well. And Murray has still been putting up the points, the rebounds and assists. And that was always a prop I played last year with San Antonio, but I haven't really looked at it this year. He's been 16, 18, and 13 as far as the rebounds and assists. He's played a lot of minutes, 38, 40, and 39. Hasn't scored as much. That's where he's kind of taken the hit. But I mean, 20, 19, that's fine. So like I said, I thought both would be fine, and especially once Trae starts shooting better from the field. Ivy's numbers are basically the same as last night. I lost on his PRA. He did have some foul trouble. His points last night was 15.5. It's 14.5 now. The PRAs are still 23.5.
That's pretty good. What do you like what you've seen from him thus far? I think he runs.
Yeah, I definitely. I have him in my other league that I'm not in with you, and I had him on the bench week 1, but it's a weekly league. I put him in the starting lineup this week, so didn't get off to a good start yesterday, but not really worried about it. He does a little bit of everything.
Yeah, what's good about him, and thank goodness that Alec Burks was hurt from this, because originally he wasn't going to start. He was going to lead the second unit. Now I don't think you can take him out of the starting lineup, even when Burks comes back. I'm sure that they want some depth in their backcourt, so maybe they do it. And Burks is a pretty good defender as well. But I'm just enjoying seeing the youthful backcourt that we have in Detroit. And Jaden Ivey thus far, everything is advertised. You could tell with a little bit of seasoning, I feel like he's going to be a complete guard. I'm not ready to call him and be like, oh, he's the next Ja Morant or anything. But he has certain awareness that when you see him on the floor, he's not just focusing on what's in front of him, always looking to see what's going on the side, always looking for cutters. And that'll definitely help the Pistons front court get better possessions and help them out a little bit more on offense, because the Pistons starting to get some size now, Rowan. I mean, Isaiah Stewart still the incumbent, but then Duren off the bench too. I mean, they have Bogdanovich to stretch the floor, but Duren off the bench, that's going to be very fun to see. And that's going to be something that we're going to be watching here when it comes to the development of this Detroit Pistons team. Still very lazy defensively, the Pistons, but I'm still very into the Jaden Ivey pick. I was into it from the start when they got him, not worried too much about Cunningham. Maybe, and I'm just going to say this, maybe Ivey in the next 2 years, we could be talking about him as the number 1 option 2 years from now on this team. I just love the way he runs the floor, Roan. He seems to be a fully dual player and can do just more than either pick and pop and that's it. He can drive off the pick and roll, and he can jump back out to the arc as well and reset the offense. And that's something that shows a lot of maturity for Ivey already.
Yeah, I liked what I've seen from him. I think one of the concerns people had was how he was going to shoot. He's shooting 48% from the field so far, and he hasn't, taken a lot of bad shots. It's not like he's throwing up 20 shots a game. Can distribute the ball, averaging 5.5 assists. So, last night was the first night that he did not go over his props. Only played 29 minutes, had 5 fouls. So, should bounce back tonight. That game has a total of like 230.
Yep, indeed. I'm looking to see if in our league who I have that we've talked about. Maturin, we talked about him in the last few days. I have Jaden Ivey. Although, wait a minute. Did something just come out? Is he out now?
Who?
Jaden Ivey. I think he might have just been ruled out. Actually, let's see. Because I'm looking on my team now, and it's saying that he's out. He might have just been ruled out a second ago here. He's not starting. Something's going on with him. We just wait.
He's not starting, or he's out.
Well,
illness. He's out.
Wow. That's unfortunate right there. That's ridiculous. Man, good spot too. So don't place any bets. I mean, they'll be off the books in a second, but
yeah, it'll be void anyway.
Yeah, just coming out 5 minutes ago. And Grande talking about Primo Primo was just ruled out as well. Welcome to the NBA, guys, and this is where we're at right now. We're going to be we saw it with Gilgeous-Alexander, who was ruled out on Monday, and then before you know it, not only questionable, but then starting. This is how the NBA works here, and just very shocking. Ivy is sick, and he will not play. So all aboard when it comes to Cunningham. Tonight, Corey Joseph will be in the starting lineup for the Pistons with Stewart, Bogdanovich, and Sadiq Bey, who absolutely sucked yesterday, and that's maybe the biggest L that I've taken in a starting 5 thus far. The guy was putting up multiple 20-point games. I
can't believe you put him in the starting 5.
Dude, I tried to get
good guy though, but but you can't. Like, that's a guy I'm not putting in.
It's a 4-game.
Like last year when they were really short. I get it, but like that's reaching, man.
But he had 2 20-point performances, and he was rebounding.
You could have went with you. There was value on the Pelicans.
Right, but at the time, Zion wasn't ruled out yet. And I told you, I was worried as well when it came to McCollum.
Ingram wasn't going to play.
What's that? I knew Ingram wasn't going to play.
I don't know, man. I'm not messing with Sadiq. I'm not messing with Sadiq.
Well, I'm not anymore. I learned my lesson now. But at 4-game slate, the guy's putting up multiple 20-point games, and he's rebounding and he's grabbing steals. I didn't think it was a bad spot for him last night. And it was nice value. And I felt bad going with all top-priced options. So that's not justification for it. Yeah, I get it. I took the L. One thing I did get right, though, which worked out really well, Devin Booker over 26.5 points. Normally don't bet overs when it comes to point totals that high. But Devin Booker, man,
I don't care. I did it with John the other night over 29.5. I mean, sometimes you got to do it. Like Giannis tonight.
He's going to destroy him. Everyone's been
Mitchell. I mean, sometimes, you need a lot of things to go right, but there are times where I'm not afraid to take those if the spot calls for it.
Yeah. By the way, Nick Durst here, a roving reporter from MetLife Stadium.
He's not resting. He's asking about Kawhi. He's having pain in his knee. He's going to get it checked out in LA.
Right, but the second game of the season, they rested him.
He might have had pain too, and they didn't say anything.
Right.
I mean, we knew he was. But we knew he was. You knew he was going to rest anyway, and you knew there was a risk. I mean, look, you hope he's okay because he came in great shape, looked good, but it is a problem that he's already dealing with some knee pain.
Yeah, Nick, let me tell you this right now. I mean, back-to-backs, forget about it. They want him healthy for the playoffs. That's out of the question. He could be 1,000% healthy, which he never will be. Back-to-backs are out of the question for Kawhi Leonard, which is why he was resting early. But then now, seeing specialists and everything again with Kawhi Leonard, that's why I did not – and look, I'm not victory lapping or anything. He can come back and be fine, and this team can contend. But that's why I'm not placing a bet on the Clippers to win the NBA championship when your key piece can't even stay on the court year after year, even when you rest him. That's why I just didn't understand why they were the favorites to win the championship on DraftKings Sportsbook. And I was fine with going with the Warriors as the second best odds there. It just never made sense to me. So he's Ronis. I'm Fensty. Let's talk a little bit more hoops, and we'll sneak in a little football as well. Saw some comments there in the comments section. We'll address those on the playbook, and we'll tell you what's coming up next on the network on BSN.
This is the playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com and sponsored by Jock Market. Make real money every second of the game.
Co-founder of Jock Market, Dave. What's up, man?
Hey guys, how are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Doing?
Thank you for sponsoring the show on the network and everything, man. We much appreciate it.
How would you recommend a novice make their introduction into Jock Market?
For most people, we recommend we have free beginner contests. So anyone, if you played fewer than 50 events, free to enter. And instead of trading with cash like you do in our cash markets, we give everyone chips, the same number of chips to trade, and we rank people at the end based on how many chips you finish with. So totally free to enter, only against other novices, and you can sort of build a portfolio in a way that you would with real cash, just in a way that's a little more risk-free. For the people that are more, a little more adventurous and you want to deposit right away, I'd say pick, one or two players you think are going to be undervalued, and it's just that simple, right? They're undervalued today. I think they're going to outperform. Buy a couple shares and watch what happens to the price. Watch where people are offering to pay for them, and then as the game goes on, you say like, hey, Lamar Jackson's having a real bad first half. Let's say, he's probably going to be the most expensive player. There might be opportunity to buy low on him, or kind of watch as the game goes on and how the prices react. I'd say that's probably the best way to.
So it's like a second screen experience where you kind of have to have it up while you're watching the games on Sunday and stuff like that to really be able to truly take advantage, huh?
Actually, what's great is that we have a lot of people that do that, but a lot of people will buy before the games and just
come back and check.
Yeah, because we have the guaranteed payouts at the end. You don't have to trade. There might be an opportunity for you to, reallocate your funds or invest more, buy, sell, short sell, whatever you want to do. But we have plenty of people who just buy and hold, and that's their whole experience, and they do pretty well on that.
We're joined.
This is the playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com and sponsored by Jock Market. Make real money every second of the game.
Programming note coming up right after us. You can catch the replay of Lunch Money with Kyle Elfrink and Ray Flowers. You'll catch a replay of that show from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And then we will be back after that there live for all of you to comment for the High Stakes Fantasy Football Show with Balky, Eric Balkman, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern. Roan, let's talk about another note that just came out here that we were talking about with Grande, and you don't like to see this, but I guess you kind of had to expect it. Apparently, Miles Turner is going to be, if he does end up playing, short stints, and that's it. His minutes will be monitored for tonight as well. So for all those with
I'm playing against them I'm against them in our home league, and I already lost Sengun, so good.
What's up with him, man? He's like sick as a dog or something like that. What's going on with him?
Yeah,
I'm like wondering, will they say COVID? Won't they say COVID? Everyone all of a sudden has non-COVID illnesses and not playing.
Yeah, the Raiders have 4 guys out due to illness, including Devontae Adams.
Uh-oh, that's not good. Not good right there. By the way, you see Devontae Adams?
I don't know.
You go for it.
You don't really hear about COVID much anymore. Look, it's time of season where weather changes and people get sick. So just hope it's that.
Yeah. So Nick Durst, by the way, SN asked us before, Rome, what do you think? Because Nick Durst is going to be at MetLife there with all the Jets fans who think they're probably going to win the Super Bowl now. Let me ask you this, because SN was asking, what do you think of the Patriots defense going into this weekend as a defense option against the Jets?
They're a good option. I mean, Zach Wilson's been terrible, and I know the Patriots look bad, but you really expect them to have another bad game? I think they're a great option this week.
Yeah, so there you go, SN. Nick Durst also asking us about why don't the Bucs sign Carmelo Anthony? Well, maybe because with the Bucs, they've got a lot of mid-court options that are going to be coming back throughout the season. For instance, they have Chris Middleton, who's out right now. Pat Connaughton, they're going to have in the mix. Joe Ingles, they're going to have in the mix. They have Nwora. They have Wes Matthews. They have just a logjam of options. And this is going to really affect them from a fantasy standpoint. Obviously, Chris Middleton is prioritized. But after that, we're going to have to see from their reserves who's going to be relied on there. Should Carmelo Anthony be signed to a team right now to give them maybe 12 to 15 points per game and a couple of cheap boards? Well, if anything, and Rick Kama said this to us when we talked to him, Ron, I believe maybe not a couple of nights ago, yesterday, but last week, Carmelo Anthony and the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics could definitely use some depth. They could use some offense coming off the bench more than just what they have with Brogdon. And I feel like Carmelo Anthony would be a better fit on the Celtics who actually need him than the Bucks who have a bunch of mid-court options.
Yeah, I mean, I would think maybe he signs with someone at some point, right?
You would think so, but I mean, you need instant offense. He's the guy. He's not as much a defender. That's the problem. He's a one-way player. So if your team is struggling to score, you need him to hit some elbow jumpers. The other thing with Melo, he's just not as quick as he was. You remember that power move he had getting to the basket? He doesn't have that anymore. He just stops at the elbow and pops every single time. It's like he doesn't want to attack. And that's, in a way, I'm stunned that he's not signed, but at the same time, he's a one-way player, right? I mean, you agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, he's older, though, so what do you expect?
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. You play better defense than Carmelo Anthony. I give you too much credit as an athlete sometimes. That's because I'm wowed, because right behind you, you have an actual Hall of Fame softball plaque that is official as official gets, being
it's
that
not
they're
Hall
from
of Fame.
It might as well be, dude. Who else has a plaque like that, recognizing for great softball play?
That is true.
Yeah, that thing's great right there. I think about, like, you have a plaque like that, and then like your old co-host Scott Engel has a FSWA Hall of Fame plaque that looks just like that. Who's got the cooler plaque? You do. That's who, right?
No doubt.
Absolutely. Any props you like that we haven't discussed yet going into tonight's action, Ron? I know we talked a lot of DFS. I know that you were slightly looking at some props. We were just looking at some Jaden Ivey props, and then all of a sudden he's sick. He's ruled out. Anything else that you like on tonight's slate?
There's not a lot. I've been looking at stuff, but I really haven't placed. Like I said, Donovan Mitchell's points, LeBron's points. I've been eyeing Tyrese Halliburton once again. And the number went down. His points and assists is 27.5. And he's gone over that every game. And it's the Bulls, and the total's kind of high. So I haven't placed it yet, but it's 27.5. You know?
That's not bad.
I know. I wish he shot a little bit more. I've noticed, like, early in games, he defers a lot to his teammates, and then a lot of the offense comes late, and it just makes me, have it. Like, he only took 11 shots from the field the other night against Philly,
Yeah,
he was 7 of 11, and I had the 19.5 points that night instead of the points assists. So, man, I should just play the points assists, right?
Yeah.
27.5. He's gone over it in every game.
Go for it then. Mitchell, by the way, it's 6.5 assists is also pretty appetizing too. And the reason
points and assists too.
Yes. Yeah. Either one. Definitely with the points too, Roan. You could almost win multiple bets doing that. Bet the points alone, the assists alone, and then bet the points assist, because this Orlando Magic team still doesn't defend. And as long as Garland is out, which this might be the last game that he's out, could return next game, they're clearly decisive that Mitchell is going to run the point. And I don't like to place blame or anything. I think that's part of the reason why we haven't seen the explosive game from Evan Mobley yet. I think it's just been so much Mitchell, right?
Yeah, definitely.
We thank our producers, the people who board us, Sharon Moore. We thank the resource, AB Adam Bernard. We'll be back. Week 8 of the fantasy football season starts tomorrow, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern. The playbook closing for the day. We thank all of you. We thank James Grande for joining us, and good luck, and let's win Wednesday.